A union proposal submitted to avert the closure of Trinidad and Tobago's state-owned oil refinery. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, September 11th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. The Oilfields Workers Trade Union, OWTU, in Trinidad and Tobago has a proposal that it says can prevent the closure of the refinery at state-owned oil company Petrotrin and save hundreds of jobs. And it's been delivered to the president, the opposition and independent senators. OWTU leader Ansel Roger has also denied claims that the government told the union about its plans to shut down the refinery in a meeting prior to the Prime Minister's disclosure to the nation. Alicia Boucher of TV6 News has details of that story.
Ansel Roger, accompanied by the OWTU's research officer Ozzy Warwick, as they hand-delivered the union's alternative proposal on the restructuring of Petrotrin at President's House. The OWTU maintains that its plan, in keeping with the April 3rd Memorandum of Understanding with the government, will prevent foreseen hardship.
We agreed with the board that the company shall be restructured. It shall be divided up into 4 entities, but the process to achieve that was not followed by the board. We kept our side of the bargain, but the government did not keep their side of the bargain.
And as such, Roger says the proposal, which was also submitted to the office of the Leader of the Opposition and the Parliament for Independent Senators, is without any participation from the Petrotrin board. He says the document will be made public later this week. In reference to a report allegedly based on minutes of a meeting on August 21st, indicating that the OWTU was made aware of government's plan to shut down the refinery, Roger denies it.
I say this for yet another time because in all those deliberations, at no time we would have had any categorical statement of shutting the refinery down. At no time. Don't you find it strange that Minister Gopi Koon, in reporting the events of the meeting, did not say that also?
According to Roger, it was the OWTU's interpretation of what was stated which led to speculation that the government was intending to sell the refinery, and he says the question now is to whom. He believes the government is purposely undervaluing the refinery to facilitate this.
How can someone else make a profit when you can't? And the $25 billion that is overstated. It is the same approach that they would have taken in the E&P, where they would have given out our wells and so on, and then tomorrow, those to whom it was given cries out a success story.
Roger is calling for a public inquiry into how the government arrived at that position, and is again asking that the documents be made public.
In Antigua and Barbuda, lawyers for fraud-accused Indian national with citizenship in the Twin Island nation are challenging a section of the country's Extradition Act. The legal team of diamond mogul Michal Choksky is arguing that the section gives too much power to the country's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It's the latest move by Choksky's attorneys as the alleged fugitive fights extradition to his homeland. He's been pursued by Indian authorities who allege that he took part in a massive fraud at a government-owned bank. The Indian national, who obtained Antiguan citizenship under the Citizenship by Investment program months before the allegations surfaced, is maintaining his innocence. We get more in this ABS News report.
Indian authorities have been trying on many fronts to extradite Mr. Choksy to India. Several requests have been made to the Antiguan government, and India in August ratified a 2001 extradition treaty between the countries to help the process along. However, ABS News has learned Choksy is also making legal maneuvers of his own. His attorney, Dr. David Dorset, has revealed a motion was filed in the courts last Friday challenging Section 9(4) of the 1993 Extradition Act.
He has absolutely no obligation to be informed by our side as to what the true situation is.
He argues the section gives the Foreign Affairs Minister unlimited discretion to issue an authority to proceed with the extradition. The lawyer says there is therefore the potential for arbitrary action.
Not saying that he will, but there is that very real prospect.
The lawyer contends the law is in contravention of his client's constitutional rights to equal protection of the law. Choksi also warns the court to stay any extradition proceedings until the matter is heard on November 14.
Watches are now in effect for 6 Caribbean islands, even as Isaac has been downgraded from a hurricane to a strong tropical storm on Tuesday afternoon as it moved closer to the Lesser Antilles. A hurricane watch is in effect for Guadeloupe, Martinique and Dominica, while Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat are under a tropical storm watch. But interests elsewhere in the Leeward Islands have been advised to monitor Isaac's progress, as additional watches as well as some warnings are likely to be issued Friday night. The National Hurricane Center in Miami said hurricane conditions are possible within the hurricane watch area, that's Guadeloupe, Martinique and Dominica, by Thursday morning. Tropical storm conditions are possible early that same day in those areas, as well as the hurricane watch areas, as we mentioned before, Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. Isaac is expected to produce 3 to 5 inches of rainfall, with isolated amounts near 10 inches across Martinique, Dominica and Guadeloupe, with 1 to 2 inches anticipated across the remaining Windward and Leeward Islands. At 5 p.m., Isaac, carrying maximum sustained winds near 70 miles per hour, was located about 670 miles east of the Lesser Antilles and was moving towards the west at 17 miles per hour. Isaac is anticipated to move near or over the central Lesser Antilles on Thursday, move into the Eastern Caribbean Sea Thursday night, and move into the Central Caribbean Sea by the weekend. Isaac is expected to be near hurricane strength when it moves through the Central Lesser Antilles, with some weakening forecast on Friday and Saturday. And Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt on Tuesday urged citizens to take the storm watch seriously, reminding them of the swift intensification of Hurricane Maria, which battered the Eastern Caribbean island as a Category 5 storm a year ago. He said although Isaac had weakened and Dominica was only under a storm warning, disaster preparedness officials were not leaving anything to chance, and neither should residents.
The fact remains, the storm is some distance away from us and anything can happen. Our hope and prayer is that it weakens and it goes away, and there'll be no impact on our country and our residents. But we must not be like the foolish virgins. We have to prepare and ensure that we prepare to the fullest possible extent. We all have vividly in our memories what happened to us in respect to Hurricane Maria and the speed at which it moved from a Category 3 to a Category 5, which was the quickest in history, 36 minutes. And we all suffered at the hands of Hurricane Maria.
And as messages circulate on WhatsApp and other social media platforms about the potential destruction from Isaac, Prime Minister Skerritt urged citizens to remain calm. Similar voice recordings are circulating in other Caribbean islands as well, and the Dominican leader said these messages only create unnecessary panic, and he urged citizens to get their information from official sources only.
I have seen a lot of WhatsApp messages going on around that are not helpful to people's emotional state. Some of them are scaring people. It is misinformation. It is inaccurate information, and let us get the information from the ODM, the Met Office. I can tell you, for my own personal good, I only take the information from the ODM and from the Met Office.
Meanwhile, a British military ship has been sent to assist where needed as islands prepare for Isaac. The RFA Mounts Bay arrived in Barbados on Tuesday for a one-day refueling visit before heading to the Eastern Caribbean. The ship's primary task is to provide enhanced security and support to the UK overseas territories and citizens through disaster relief, work with regional partners to intercept narcotic operations, and provide humanitarian assistance and other peacetime operations. But now, during the Atlantic hurricane season, the ship and crew take on an enhanced role, remaining on standby to react to emerging crises around the Caribbean. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Haiti's Prime Minister withdraws a resignation threat. Stay with us.
I'll have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I've known this gentleman for quite a few years. He's not just an incredible chef, but he's a good friend of mine. Steve Falsetti is Chef Falsetti. I gotta give you.
Thank you, Chef.
Chef
Rock.
Falsetti. Cut a fillet. What about
It's
4
beautiful.
ounces?
That one's about
5?
4 ounces, and this one's probably about 6 ounces.
Yeah, that's a little bigger. A little bigger. That one's mine.
Like I said, it's really amazing, and this cattle is, they roam 200 miles.
Filmmaker Peter Berg announced that he will direct a documentary which will take a stylistic look at the life of pop star Rihanna. The feature film will not be so much a rockumentary as it will be an intimate look at the life of a megastar. Berg's documentary film company, Film 45, will be producing the film. Berg previously directed Friday Night Lights, which was based off a true story.
Welcome back. Haiti's Prime Minister Jean-Henri Seyon is reported to have withdrawn a threat to resign, which he'd made after opposition legislators called on him to reappoint the outgoing planning minister in return for their support. Sources say the Prime Minister had refused to yield to what he described as blackmail, and he verbally gave his resignation to the head of state. But he stays, and he and President Jovenel Moïse have agreed that the outgoing Minister of Planning will not be reappointed in the new government. The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, reacting to the possible resignation of the Prime Minister, had said it would be a shame for Haiti at a time when the country was waiting for the ratification of the Prime Minister and his cabinet. St. Lucia's Police Commissioner Severin Monchery has condemned a video being circulated on social media in which threats are made to harm law enforcement officials. And he's urged police officers to act professionally at all times and act within the law. Home Affairs, Justice and National Security Minister Herman Gill Francis also condemned the video. And police have launched an investigation to find the person who made it. And in a joint statement issued by the Security Ministry, Monchery asserted that whatever is necessary will be done to bring the individual to justice. We get more in this HGS News Force report.
HGS News Force can confirm law enforcement officers are working to ID the suspect behind a chilling cell phone video in which a handgun is brandished at 2 unsuspecting police officers. The 28-second video, which went viral on social media last weekend, has stoked reaction from St. Lucia's security minister and the top brass of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. The 2 uniformed officers were allegedly filmed by the suspect, apparently as they were making a purchase from a local barbecue grill. In the video, 2 other men can be seen observing the police officers. A nearby hi-fi sound system made the dialogue between 2 of the suspects inaudible. But then, loud and clear, a man's voice can be heard making what Police Commissioner Severin Monchery interpreted were threats against the lives of the 2 officers.
You see what they're drinking there? You see them? I'm ready for them too.
The 2 officers did not turn around during the 28 seconds of video when the suspect pulled out what appeared to be a handgun and stated that he is, quote, ready for them. Police Commissioner Monchery has condemned the incident and in a September 10th joint statement with the National Security Ministry said, in part, I see it as an attack on the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Police Commissioner Mosheri added that he, quote, will not allow for such flagrant disregard of the law and, quote, whatever is necessary will be done to bring the perpetrators to justice, end quote. The police force continues to grapple with illegal gun possession and gun-related offenses. 90 firearm-related offenses were recorded for the first half of 2018, the highest rate since 2014. National Security Minister Senator Herman Gill Francis described the incident as, quote, disrespectful to police, end quote. He issued a special message to the Police Welfare Association to, quote, remain resolute in the fight against crime, end quote. No arrests have been made in relation to this incident.
Over in Bermuda, a 55-year-old man has been charged with stalking and threatening to kill a former attorney general. Perry Smith has been accused of 2 counts of making written threats to kill Michael Scott, the MP for Sandys North, on or around August 10th and 19th. He's also charged with possession of a knife on a public road on September 8th, and police have further charged him with stalking Scott between August 10th and September 8th. When Smith appeared in the magistrate's court on Monday, he was released on $10,000 bail. He was also ordered to have no contact with Scott, and he must report to a police station 3 days a week. Scott is the second member of the ruling Progressive Labour Party to receive death threats in recent times. Last month, Jared Gordon was charged with sending death threats to Premier David Burt over a 5-month period. He's awaiting trial in the Supreme Court. Ahead in Newsline Sport, Jamaica's Reggae Boys win their opening match of the inaugural CONCACAF Nations League. We'll be right back.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation.
Be prepared. During a storm or hurricane warning, charge cell phones.
Drove up today to Vermont, been on the water a couple hours, and my assessment is as follows. A lot more difficult than I thought. Thought the fishing would be a little bit better. Can't wait to get a big bite. Getting a little frustrated, not concerned about anything other than a big fish. I'm a little bit hungry. I could use a few more beers. I would like to have a cigar right now. If you want to give me a 4-pounder at the end of my Kermit the Frog, I'd be happy, and I would smile, and I would shake your hand.
Her passion for what she believes is unmatched.
So you could, I wanted to get to the point where you can shake me off that perfect piece.
She's a book-off radio host, philanthropist, and motivational speaker.
And I said, I'm going to write you a check for $10,000, which I'm not.
Spirit, soul, and body.
To get some help through the transition.
I'm Karita D, and you're listening to Girlfriend Get a Life.
Veteran Darren Mattox and Corey Burke both netted braces as Jamaica's Reggae Boys predictably made light work of Minnows Cayman Islands in their opening match of the inaugural CONCACAF Nations League. Both strikers found the target in each half, handing the hosts a 2-0 lead at halftime, which they then converted into a 4-0 verdict at full-time at Jamaica's National Stadium on Sunday. As early as the 3rd minute, fullback Kimar Lawrence was played through down the left side, and his cross from just outside the box saw Mattox elude his marker and beat goalkeeper Ramon Seeley with a glancing head into the upper right-hand corner. Jamaica doubled their lead in the 35th minute when Owain Gordon fought off a defender inside the penalty area and squared for Burke, who tapped home from close range. The hosts extended their dominance following the break, Mattox adding a 3rd goal courtesy of another close-range header following Adrian Mariappa's right-sided cross in the 59th minute. And 8 minutes later, Burke also grabbed his second, producing a give-and-go with Javon East before scuffling a right-footed shot past Seeley. Jamaica will face Bonaire next month away. Well, Cayman Islands captain Ramon Seeley cited lack of experience as the reason for his side's defeat, but he says he remains optimistic about their chances and future matches. Seeley spoke with Cayman 27's Jordan Armanese.
Didn't start off in the best way that we wanted to start off. They got an early goal, which kind of forced us to change our game plan. We were trying to stay compact to see if you can restrict them as much as possible. So that early goal really set us back. I don't think it really dented our confidence because we know they were a good side, but at the same time, we had to adjust a little bit more. We had to become a little bit more expansive to try and get back a goal, and it really changed the game. But moving forward, I thought we could have kept the ball just a little bit better, but considering the fact that this is a new side, a young side, and I think only 3 of us have had international experience, it bodes well for the future that we were only being foiled up by Jamaica. A lot of those guys are professional. They play in the MLS, in the Jamaican Premier League, and all over the world. So we're looking forward to seeing what we look forward. We're happy with what we did, and we look forward to what we can do in the future.
And at the Ergilio Hato Stadium in Willemstad, Bermuda thrashed Aruba 3-1, while at the same venue, Bonaire went down 5-0 to the Dominican Republic. At IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, the U.S. Virgin Islands slumped to a heavy 8-0 defeat to Canada, while St. Kitts and Nevis edged Puerto Rico 1-0 in Basse-Terre. Switching sports now, Trinidad and Tobago's national table tennis team are hoping to improve their rankings when they take on the rest of the region this month in the Table Tennis Caribbean Championships in Jamaica. TV6's Sergio Dufour tells us more.
Trinidad and Tobago's table tennis players came together for a day of rest and reflection behind the table tennis board, of course. The competition featured open categories, a points competition, as well as a 3-on-3 table tennis battle. Public Relations Officer for the National Table Tennis Association, Sheridan Pierre, explains.
Based on the financial situation that I face right now, we try to be as creative as possible in our fundraiser. So some of the national players and we came together with this initiative of a fun day of table tennis, where we have 3 categories.
Pierre says that they are raising funds towards the Caribbean Championships, which will be held in Jamaica from the 21st to the 30th of September.
It costs us about $80,000, so we are halfway there. We're just waiting on the other half, approximately $40,000 to make sure everyone is on the trip and everything is taken care of. Also,
as for why they need to compete in Jamaica?
Well, it's important for the national team to attend the Caribbean Championships because we haven't represented TNT at the Caribbean Championships in a few years. So it's important for us because next year there's Pan Am, and the next Caribbean Championships, which may be January or April of next year, will be qualifiers for Pan Am. And it's important for us to get ranking points.
Bermuda has been chosen to host the ITU World Triathlon Series Grand Finale in 2021, and it's been described by a tourism chief as an amazing milestone for the country. The Bermuda Tourism Authority announced that the island's bid was approved on Tuesday by the ITU Executive Board in Queensland, Australia. Bermuda hosted the first of 3 previously awarded World Triathlon Series races in April, when Flora Duffy delighted crowds by storming to victory on home turf. Her hopes of completing an unprecedented hat trick of titles this year were ended by a recurrent foot injury, having been female world champion in 2016 and 2017. The BTA said 450 local workers and volunteers had earned high praise for their execution of the event. Bermuda will also host Triathlon Series events in 2019 and 2020 before the big event the next year. And finally, in horse racing, the brother of Northlands Park champion jockey Rico Walcott won a double at the Garrison Savannah in Barbados over the weekend. Ricky Walcott partnered with 3-year-old and up Gandalf in race 5 to win by 4 lengths and then picked up victory with stealing in another race. Rashawn Aline has the call on race 5.
They're off in the Sales Graduates Vase handicap, and Gandalf popped away the best. So it's Gandalf who will lead from Oberoi. Butterfly is third. She's 2 lengths off of Gandalf. Zip Code and Summer Again is the trailer, just 5 lengths covering the field as they race through the initial stages. It is Gandalf who is at the head of affairs. He's 2 lengths in front of Oberoi. Butterfly is still third. Summer Again to the outside of Zip Code, 4th and 5th as they come down the stretch for the first time. So Gandalf, the Derby winner, just ambles down the stretch. He has a big lead on Oberoi. He's about 4 or 5 lengths in front past the stands. Butterfly is third, Summer again fourth to the outside of the defending champion Zip Code as they went through the opening quarter in 25-1. So Ricky Walker's having a bit of difficulty meandering the turn on Gandalf. The lead is now down to 2 lengths as O'Brien and Butterfly, the Derby and Midsummer winner, get closer, 5 furlongs from the money. Zip Code and Summer again are still the back markers. They're 3 lengths off of Gandalf, so everyone begins to take closer order as they go up the back stretch. So it's Gandalf still a solo at the Butterfly. Comes closer as they're within a length now of Gandalf. O'Boy's back to third. Zip Code has 4 lengths to make up, and he has for company Summer again at the back of the field. And the stage is set 3 furlongs from home, and it's Gandalf. Bishop goes to a right on Butterfly as they race down the hill. The half in 49-4. 3/4 in 14-4, and Gandalf has been there every call. Is Gandalf trying to shake away from Butterfly? He's doing that with a quarter mile left to travel. Oberoi is third. Zip Code is now shaking away from Summer again, who's 10 lengths behind Gandalf as they come to the corner. And the best 3-year-old in the land strides into the final furlong. He's repelled Butterfly as they come inside the final stages. Oberoi keeping to his task, but as they come inside the final furlong, it is Gandalf. From here, just a matter of how far, and the sky may not just be the limit for Gandalf as he courses across the line. He wins by 4. Butterfly was second. Oberoi was third. Then came Zip Code, and the last one home was Summer again in 152 flat.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
It's my first of the 3 that they've been doing. It will not be my last, but it's beautiful to celebrate everything that we contribute to the society that we live in, as well as music. Music is such a universal language. It bridges gaps. It soothes souls. It's just so many different things all wrapped into one. And when we contribute our part of it, it just becomes even that much more magical.
It's off the chain. And to see us, look at this. Demetria McKinney, House of Pain. Y'all know who this is, right?
A recap of the major developments of this day. The Oilfields Workers Trade Union in Trinidad and Tobago submits a proposal it says can prevent the closure of the refinery at state-owned oil company Petrogen and save hundreds of jobs. And in sport, Jamaica's Reggae Boys beat Cayman Islands in their opening match of the inaugural CONCACAF Nations League. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to ConnellNews.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and subscribe to CaribVision's YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.